Imagine you go your entire life living like Jeffrey, because Jeffrey can't see his weaknesses. He doesn't know when he's made a mistake, and so he never grows. You don't want to live like that, do you? Wouldn't you rather live like Adonis, the ultimate man, the man that passes down the wisdom to us of his learning lessons? Through hours of contemplation and introspectiveness, Adonis is able to see his weak points and grow from them. It's Friday the 3rd of June, 2022, and I had this idea that I should start doing like a monthly recap of specifically of the mistakes that I've made. So what were the mistakes that I made in May 2022? The first like big one that comes to mind, I came here in Thailand around May 16th. So we've been here for about 2 weeks. I'm here with my good friends Sam and Nabil. And the first like big mistake that pops into my mind, which is a repetitive mistake, is that I feel like I've been a little bit too harsh and like too critical. Now I've asked Sam this multiple times and he said that I haven't really been, but I do feel it, right? What I mean by that is that this might get a little bit deep, I didn't even realize. I realized that I have a lot more of my father's personality inside of me than I thought I did. My father is like a very, very like, he's not so much anymore. He's really improved himself. But when I was growing up, he was like a very sort of critical, quick to like, give advice, quick to like, yeah, he'd point out your weaknesses and he'd somewhat like tease and you know what I mean? So I really disliked my dad for that. And there's been a bunch of times over the last 2 weeks, especially with Sam, that I've kind of like really seen that personality inside of me and I don't like it. I don't like how like, I can cope and say, okay, it's because I have high expectations of people. It's because I set high standards, and that is 100% the truth. For everyone who's in my life, I set high standards. I set high expectations from them. It pains me to be around, like it annoys me. I'll be totally honest. It annoys me and it agitates me to be around someone who's not like at least trying to be on their potential, to at least trying to like, be a good person. It annoys me and I get very, very, very agitated over the last 2 weeks when small things have happened. Like for example, Sam is taking like too long to get onto his bike. So me and Nabil, we've all got a motorbike. Me and Nabil are on our motorbike, we're ready to go. And then Sam is he's slow as fuck getting on his. He's just, he's fucking around on his phone, putting music on, messing around with his like bag strap and stuff. So we're always waiting for him. And of course we're waiting literally for like a minute each time, 2 minutes. And it pisses me off because it's kind of like the flow of the movement, being able to go from here to here to here really quickly. It's really nice to keep up like the flow and social momentum. And so I don't lose too much time by Sam being so slow, but I do feel like a huge level of agitation. Then I see it in my brain where I'm pissed off at him and I'm, lecturing him and I'm telling him like, bro, come on, why don't you respect our time? How can you like not be ashamed of being like the slowest guy in the group all the time? How can you not be ashamed of being a man that's slowing down others? Come on, let's go, man. I feel like I have this very like harsh, critical personality. I constantly focus. Yeah, that's the right way to say it. It's my natural tendency to focus on someone's weak points, which that is a very bad trait, which you might have inside of you. It's my natural tendency to focus on someone's weak points, the areas of growth, than it is to focus on their strengths. I've read a bunch of books on leadership. My favorite ones are by John C. Maxwell. Literally all of his books on leadership are amazing. And one of the things he always says is to make sure that you focus on your team's strengths, not their weaknesses. The reason why. Weaknesses, yes, 100% we want to develop them, but when you focus on someone's strength, that's when you're able to like praise people more. That's when you're able to like appreciate them more. That's when you're able to actually develop them so much more. When you focus on someone's weakness, imagine the way that you sort of interact with them. It's gonna negatively affect their self-esteem, their self-image, isn't it? Because let's say, okay, what's one of your weaknesses right now? It could be like, a little bit of like laziness or procrastination. If I focus on that right now and we have a full conversation, me and you, then you're not gonna feel good about it. Now you might get that sort of dark, negative kind of motivation, which is like, I'm tired of being a loser. I'm gonna, really do something now. But chances are you're just not gonna feel good because of that. And generally, when you feel good is when you'll do the best. Now, let's say one of your strengths is that you actually have been very consistent in the gym over the last couple of months. So I could have focused on that and still helped you with your procrastination, because I could have said, bro, you've been going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week. That's so sick. You're so consistent. You're not that lazy guy anymore. And so imagine what that's going to do to your self-image, your self-esteem, those like thoughts that you have, which are so important. You're going to go away from our conversation thinking like, yeah, I'm so productive. I'm not a guy who's lazy anymore. And then what do you think is going to happen in terms of the things that you used to procrastinate on? Well, you're going to carry that same belief in there. So just by me focusing on your strengths, you would have made more progress in other areas. It's the easy, natural thing to do to focus on someone else's weakness. And that's what I've been doing over the last 2 weeks. Now, Sam has just started recording videos for his YouTube channel again. He's got like 2,000 subscribers. And he recorded a video in a cafe with me and Nabil yesterday, and they were talking about this. And I literally asked him on the video. I'd said like, today I felt like I was being too critical of you. And I was like, too far on the spectrum of like calling you out and stuff. And he said, no, like that's what we need. That's like literally what the video he was recording it was about. It was like having brotherhood around you, the importance of having good friends who challenge you. And we've all read the same book, me, Sam, and Nabil. There's a book titled The Way of the Superior Man by David Dida. I've mentioned that book literally 15, 20 times on this channel. I really hope you go and read it. It's a very good book. And so in this chapter, the author tells you to enjoy your friends' criticism because that's how you grow and that's how you show that you're secure in something. So your friends, your good friends, will literally tease you and be critical of you when you're doing something which is like not of your highest potential. And that's of course only if they're like good friends. Like bad friends will tease you and bully you and stuff. But a good friend will, for example, see that, okay, you've been slacking in the gym, and he'll kind of be like a little bit like critical towards you. That's how we grow. We need to be challenged by our brothers. In one hand, I do feel like this weakness, this mistake that I have of being too critical. It seems like Sam and Nabil say that, you know, it's okay. No, like it's actually a good thing for them. It's caused a lot of growth. But I think it's my internal perception of it, because I should challenge that. What if it's not actually a mistake that I've made? What if just my perception of my father's criticism to me was always flipped? Because I always like disliked my dad when he would be critical of me, when he would tease me and everything. And perhaps I just never enjoyed my father's criticism, like what the book would say. I said this in the video that Sam recorded, that perhaps like the way that my dad treated me when I was a little boy was actually getting me ready for masculinity and brotherhood. But because I was way more feminine, I was way more sensitive, I was raised a lot more by my mother, I wasn't able to sort of understand the value and sort of, you know, like fight back or, you know, take his criticism and learn from that with growth. I was just really sensitive, so it used to hurt my feelings. What I've just said, all of this video, isn't actually the mistake. And in fact, the real mistake is how sensitive and emotional I am, which really is the next thing that I've wanted to talk about in this video. The big mistake that I've made is being fickle and emotional instead of stoic and objective about a bunch of different things. I've realized over the last 2 weeks that I'm still a very like emotional guy, and my emotions kind of run my life. A lot of times when, you know, I'm being objective and I've really thought things through, but I do often change my mindset, change my plans, change my goals and stuff based on like fleeting emotions. Like Sam has said this to me multiple times in the last few days, that I'm a very fickle guy. I'm a very like, I just change my mind about things all the time, and I'm just going to be totally unfiltered. The thing that I change my mind about all the time is with women, dating and sex. Just before we came to Thailand, I was telling him, okay, it's not going to be like a degenerate sort of holiday. You know, I'm going to be focused. I'm going to like, you know, work really hard. Then we get here and I'm in that mindset. But then like a day later, I'm like, oh boys, I'm horny as fuck. Like, let's go get some girls. Let's go out. Let's do this. Let's go on Tinder and stuff. Then I flip and I'm like, no, I hate casual sex. Casual sex is bad for me. I'm going to find my wife. Then the next day I'm like, oh boys, let's go approach. Let's go. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm just going from one emotion to the next, to the next, to the next. And it's a very like, it's an exhausting way to live. Maybe for women it might be okay, you know, but generally as a man, you want to be more masculine, you want to be less feminine, you want to be less emotional. The biggest mistake, the biggest weakness that I have is that I am a very emotional, sensitive guy. I've just always been that way, and it is something that I aim to change. I haven't looked into too much of like books about this, or perhaps this is like my sort of area of growth that I should, you know, be directing my self-improvement to. Specifically about women and dating and sex, it's like my mind is all over the place. I journaled last night. We just hit 500k, and I was just, you know, that's interesting, bro. We hit 500k on the channel and I'm journaling about women. If I look through my journal right now, if I look through all of my journals, I guarantee 80% of the things that I've wrote down is about women, is about dating and sex. And 20% will be about like what I say is the most important thing for me, which is my purpose, my mission, this work, this movement, my own development, my friends. Do you think that is a weakness or a mistake? Valuing love so highly? Valuing intimacy and affection so highly. I've really wondered, is that caused by like trauma? Is it, you know, something inside of me that really craves validation and affection and love because I didn't really get such a consistent sense of that as a child? Is it normal? Is it something that like everyone else? Like, I feel like this is my biggest weakness by far, is like just how emotional I am and how much of a need for like validation, love and affection I have. But then at the same time, I've read some books which do say like, well, yeah, of course, that's what we need. That's like normal. I do also have that mindset, and you can see like my mind is just fucking all over the place with this. So this is something, a mistake, a weakness that I haven't yet improved on. And I think it's very important to be able to talk about things like this. The flip side of this video, you know, mistakes that I've made or weaknesses that I have, is the strengths that I have. And I say one of my strengths, which I'm very proud of, is I feel like I have a very, very good level of self-awareness, of being able to, you know, like feel the truth within myself. I can like challenge myself. I can tell you like, oh, but it could be this, instead of some people just don't even know the truth within themselves. And I I feel like I have like a good level of humility. That really does cause like a good level of growth. I could be here saying, right, nope, no mistakes for me, no weaknesses for me, but pretty much every single video that I make, I tell you like mistakes that I've made. I tell you about a story where I messed up. That is like a good strength that I'm really proud of, that I really developed. What's some other mistakes that I've made? Yeah, there was a girl that I slept with here, I think a few days in. Nabil went to sleep with me and Sam. It was like Friday night or Saturday night. We were just like talking. We were like, oh, should we go out? Should we go out? Like, oh, let's just get ready and go out and get some girls and shit. Like, I don't like going out anymore. I don't like going to clubs and stuff. I'm just going to be totally honest. I feel like no one else tells you the truth with this. But like, bro, I went out for validation, 100%. You know, girls always lie and they say like, oh, well, I go out to have fun and shut the fuck up. Like, oh, I go out to like dress up with my girls. Bro, I went out for validation. I'm going to be one of the first people. I went out fully because I wanted to get validated by random people, like drunk people. Like, you know what I mean? It's a low quality thing. But I went out looking good. I wore like a button shirt and didn't put any of the buttons on. And I'm like, I'm fairly fucking lean right now. The amount of attention and like gropings and validation I got was insane. I fully felt like I've hit that like Chad level where it's like, as soon as I came to the club, I literally saw like a group of hot girls kind of like touch each other and like look towards me. One girl walks past saying like, oh my God, I just fell in love with you. I literally like, I didn't even dance and I was fully sober. I did not drink at all. I literally just had like water bottles on me. I didn't even like enjoy the night technically. I swear to God, this is sad as fuck, but this is all I did all through the night. We went to like multiple clubs. All I did was just walk slowly through the crowd of people and just like hold eye contact with girls, and a few of them, like, you know, they'd be like onto me straight away. So I'd like, I fuck their entire bodies and grab their hand, twist them a little bit, like kiss them and stuff. I'm speaking to a bunch of girls and everything. Then like 2 hours passed by and I'm starting to get like tired. I know where Sam is. That first girl who said like, oh my God, I just fell in love with you the first time she saw me. She just pops up out of nowhere and I start speaking to her. She starts like grinding on me and shit. We leave the club together, bring her back, and we have sex here. I'm feeling like really great beforehand. And you know, like I took her on the motorbike, so she was on the motorbike behind me. I was sober, so I can still drive, and I'm playing music from the speaker. And that's like, you know, kind of like nice memory of like, oh, like, yeah, I'm in Thailand. I've got a girl behind me. I'm playing loud music and everything. And then as soon as I had sex, bro, this is the reason why I think it's a mistake. It's no disrespect to her at all. But I just, you know, like you get post-nut clarity, and I just realized like, I don't like this girl. You know, that's not cool. That's not like cool for me to say. I should be like a big alpha male and tell you, yeah, fuck this girl. I dug her guts. I should say all this shit, bro. But like, I've gotten to that point of my development where it's like, I actually really value myself and like that private, intimate part of me. Now, you might not just be there just yet. I know a lot of guys are in that thing of like, they don't really think about this, but this is something that the YouTuber First Man, Chris, he said on like an old video of his, which he's titled The Power Dynamic, where he said like, eventually the higher value you get, the less fun you're going to find in sex, because you're going to start to feel a little bit like anxious about it. You've got more to lose. Do you know, when you're quite low level, you're like an 18-year-old going to the club. It's like, you don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. Oh, with one of the lads, let's just sleep with one of the girls. And it's the girls who are kind of holding back. Girls control sex, guys control commitment. It's like that vibe. And so girls control sex because they've got more to lose. They've got like kind of like more to give in that sense. They could get pregnant. The guy could be like a weirdo. He could be a creep. He could be aggressive, right? So a girl is more held back. But when you do go up higher levels, and like I have a, you know, good level of like clout and attractiveness and business and wealth and everything, I'm kind of like a little bit anxious now. You know, there's more to lose, there's less to gain. Plus like I'm at that point where it's like, oh yeah, pleasure, instant gratification, like it doesn't do so much to me anymore. I'm absolutely fine not having sex for like weeks, months. I've done that multiple times. Oh, he's got low testosterone. No, it's not, bro. Once you've been on semen retention for a while, once you've read those books about sexual transmutation, and you see the fucking growth of your business when you don't have sex for 2 weeks, it's like, bro, I'd rather do that a lot of the time. But I sleep with this girl. The thing that really hurt, you know, I was feeling fine all this time, and you know, I feel like a legend. You know, I went out, took this girl back and everything, and then it's just straight after we're about to like go to sleep, and we naturally, both of us, we just did something that literally broke my heart. Like, we're in this bed, and we both went to like opposite sides of the bed. And I don't know if that's so significant for you, but it literally just reminded me of like the girl that I really like, and like sort of the last person that I've connected to. And after we would sleep together, like I couldn't hold her closer to me. You know, she would be in my arms literally all night, and I'd be like kissing her all over. She'd be kissing me. We'd be talking so cute to each other. The girl I was with here, as soon as we both just went to, you know, either side of the bed, I just realized like, how did we just share such an intimate part of ourselves? We don't even feel comfortable to like cuddle or to like look at each other, you know what I mean? And of course, you know, you can have hookups where you still cuddle and stuff afterwards, and of course I've had that, but it just made me like reconsider, like again, like, you know, this is something I struggle with, which like craving the validation of random girls and stuff. That broke my heart, and I'm gonna be totally honest of what happened next. I just leave her in the bed. I literally just grab my fucking journal and just sit out here in the balcony at like 3 a.m. just journaling about life, listening to like sad piano music on my phone. I told my friends that, and they were like laughing at me that I literally just sat out here when she was inside. There was nothing wrong with this girl at all, honestly. She was like, I honestly really thought she was like really sexy as well. So it's not based on like, oh well, you know, if she was like this or this. To me, I now realize like a mistakes I'm making is sex without emotional connection, which of course, like, that's common sense. Like, you should be sleeping with someone that you like. It's as simple as that. But when you're in this kind of culture and you crave this validation and, you know, you're a lad and like you want to go fuck and everything, it's so easy to kind of forget that sex is inherently attached to emotion and love and family. I'd say that's probably one of the biggest mistakes in my mind right now. And I feel like one of those girls that has like a hookup and, you know, they regret it and they feel like a slut, and like, I literally feel that way. What's interesting then is that there's 2 other girls that I've seen here that I've not had sex with, but I've seen them in like the daytime and very good experiences with both of them. This is what I was saying to Sam and Nabil, that if I had slept with those other 2 girls, I wouldn't have regretted it. So for me, because the other 2, I'm not trying to, I've got so many girls, I'm not trying to go like that, but like, on the first few days, there was a girl that she approached me saying that like I look good and that like she'd see me round. I was wearing like a sleeveless vest. I'm not gonna lie, I looked good as fuck. Like, the stories I have of this place, bro, if I told them on YouTube, I know for a fact like the Black Pillars would like take them and like put them on their channel, be like, oh, this guy's definitely lying because he's a sub-5 curry cell manlet or some shit. But like, the stories that I have of this place, bro, it's like the amount of attention that I've been getting is fucking insane. This girl kind of like somewhat approached me because I was eating with my friends, and then she came up with her friend and said, oh, we've seen you around here, like you look really good and stuff, and like, you know, asking questions. Got her on Instagram or something, and then we like met a few days later, went to the beach just down there. It was like, that was like a very, very sweet moment. Like, we connected very well. We didn't have sex. We kind of like didn't do sexual stuff, but, you know, we got like a little bit intimate here as well. I wouldn't have like regretted it then. So I'm not being like, you know, some total loud ass playing though. So I'm not being like totally hard on myself and saying, you know, you've got to be celibate, you've got to be like semen retention day 1000 or some shit. It's just more like, bro, it's a simple standard to keep up, which I keep failing on. It's just have sex with people that you actually like. I know that there's people who prefer being on more of the extreme sides, and it's like, just have sex in marriage or just have sex like with anyone possible and, you know, just for pleasure and stuff. I think I'm somewhere around like a healthy middle. Like, that's my goal. That's what I'm striving for, which is just simply like, if you like someone and you're getting on with them, then yeah, fair enough. You know, there was something I kept in mind for a couple of months. I kind of forgotten it, but it was an experience I had with a girl in Dubai and then in Amsterdam, where it was like almost a metric, like a rule for myself, which was, guys, sleep with the girl that you would happily take out for pancakes the morning after. Because that's what happened with this girl in Dubai. Like, I really connected well with. The morning after, I don't usually like do this kind of stuff. The morning after, like, I actually wanted to spend more time with her, and so it felt like really nice to go into a restaurant and everything first thing in the morning. I kind of like kept that in mind, and I think that maybe that's a good rule for you to take if you feel a little bit like, you know, uncertain with how you should structure your sexual life, and you feel like the really religious advice doesn't really work for you, it's too serious, and you feel like the really like slutty advice, red pill advice, alpha male advice doesn't really work for you. I think the nice balance is just like, yep, like just make sure you have like a bit of an emotional connection with this person, make sure you like them, make sure that they're like a good person that you want to have some kind of like emotions to. Literally ask yourself, do I want to be emotionally connected to this person? Is that going to be a good thing for you? If the answer is no, or if it's uncertain, you should probably just have the respect for yourself to think, you know what, like, yeah, I could get some like pleasure here, and like, you know, I could do it, and, you know, oh, I'll be one of the lads. But it's like, I think we've really like devalued how much emotion and love and intimacy and affection is in having sex with someone. And I think that's like a mistake I keep making. And a lot of people do criticize me for this, and they do like come at me quite harsh and say like, oh, well, you know, you said that this is a problem, and so just stop, Hamza, just stop. That's like telling an alcoholic, yeah, just stop. It's like telling like a video game addict, oh, well, just stop. Well, yeah, like, of course. I know it's a weird problem to have, and I hope I don't seem like a bit of a dickhead. Oh yeah, well, you know, bro, my biggest problem is having too much sex. But I wrote this down, and obviously it's a weird like flex of a problem. And I hope I don't come across that way, because like of how much I literally tell you, like it really emotionally impacts me. Like, you don't realize like how much, like I am a very emotional guy. I'm a very like loving, affectionate guy. It hurt me that night to just feel like I didn't want to / I couldn't be like that with this random girl. And of course, I naturally kind of thought of the girl that I'm in love with, who I've connected like so well with. And like, just you reminisce times when like you get to be truly authentic and affectionate with someone. And I think that is a very important part of our lives that perhaps we might be like devaluing. And yeah, I think those are my mistakes for May 2022. So I hope that it can help you. I think if this video like gets like some nice comments and everyone's like, oh my God, you know, this really seems to help, this was a really good idea, then I can start doing something like this like literally every month. And I feel like that would be really nice to ground myself as well, to constantly just keep telling myself, okay, well, these are my mistakes and this is how I could learn from them, and you may as well learn from them too. You can subscribe to our channel if you want to. Welcome to the cult. Do the hard work, especially when you don't feel like it.